Welcome back, everyone, to Nerd TV for another Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach 1 I got that backwards. Martin Sports Truck Series here for race 12 of 13 for the 2023B season. And these guys are going to tackle 134 laps around the simulated Kentucky Speedway on the iRacing platform. And much cooler track than what we've seen because it is 7:30 server time in the game. So we're going to go from evening to nightfall transition during all 134 laps here tonight. Track temps 83 degrees in the sky. That's 79 degrees. Close to 50% humidity, partly cloudy, and no wind to really worry about. 5 mile an hour. If it picks up with gust, coming from a certain direction, you might see the trucks get a little sideways. But overall, I don't think there's going to be any issue with the weather here tonight. Of course, my name, I go by J Stan on the gaming side, and in real life, it's Jeremy Stanley. And then to my right, Mr. Jason Rockefeller. How are you doing this Wednesday?
We're out here, man. We're in the bluegrass state.
Right.
I don't really see any bluegrass, though. That's the thing. Everybody keeps telling me it's the bluegrass state. I'm not seeing any. I'm doing good, though. We just obviously got off the RSR race yesterday evening, and then the other day raced the Mach 1 Performance Cup. That was a blast to do, and here we are at Kentucky now tonight. Surprisingly, I think one of my best tracks probably on the service. I actually not enjoy driving this track, but I'd say I'm not bad at it at all. I kind of feel like I can hold the bottom a lot better, especially here in the truck, which is going to be key. This is really a one-lane racetrack. 1 and 2 is totally different from 3 and 4. You're going to see a lot of guys trying to make sure they can get down to the bottom as quickly as possible. Don't slide up, because the second you slide up here, you are going all the way to the back of the train.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of not... It's 50-50 with me between the repave and the not repave. I'm indifferent with it. And speaking of the bluegrass, I mean, they have some blue things. They got the blue grandstands there in the center of the front stretch. They got the blue rooftops there in the garages. And, of course, you got Geico across the front stretch. So, I mean, there's a little bit of blue, but none of it's grass. So I'm with you. I don't know where they get the bluegrass state from. But maybe someone that's in the area, Mr. Dustin Loxton, who's on your camera, maybe he can touch in on where this bluegrass is because we can't find it. Well, back to you, Jim. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there. And I'm seeing a lot of trucks really get loose to these corners, so that'll be kind of a thing to watch out and to see who can manage their tire wear. I know you're trying to get all you can in the last minute here in practice, but you have to get everything out of these trucks in these corners. The corner, especially turn 4, if you've not driven Kentucky, it's such a wide corner exit. So you feel like you're going to make the corner. You lift a little bit, think you're going to push up, and then all of a sudden you're 4 truck lengths off the wall there. So turn 4, I think, is going to be the bigger part of this track to see who's going to get the fastest lap times tonight and ultimately win this race.
I had to, I'm sorry. You should have sound now. Of course, our fellow nerd Richie Coy said, hey, yeah, we can't hear Dustin. So long story short.
Nice.
I like the cookie cutters, always have. Much rather wish it was Chicagoland over Kentucky, but beggars cannot be choosers. So tire management is going to be paramount.
Appreciate the heads up, and thank you for joining, Richie, by the way. What's up, Jason?
Yeah, and Jeremy, you actually mentioned a great point right there about how you think you're gonna come off the corner, you're gonna hit it, you lift a little bit, and next thing you know, you're like 4 or 5, hell, 6 truck lengths or widths off the wall. I can't tell you the amount of times that's happened, but with your point, That's actually exactly how you kind of want to exit. You don't want to exit too low, but you don't want to exit too high, because this track is one of those things where you think as a driver, or as most people think, like you watch every Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it may be, you see a lot of guys come out to the wall at most mile and a half. It's not like that for Kentucky. You don't want to come all the way out to the wall off turn number 4, because you could just see right from this aerial shot how wide the exit of turn 4 is, just because of how wide that front straightaway is. If you just as far as go all the way up to the wall right there off turn 4, you're going to have so many guys on your insides on these restarts especially, and that's going to be a big thing too with track position. Make sure you can hold your line, stay in the right lane, and at the end of the day, you know, like Dustin said too, conserve those tires, because you do not want to slide the right front here at all.
Yeah, absolutely not. And it is qualifying time. We're going to get our faces off your guys' screen. And the number 29 of Tommy Schaefer, winner of last week's race, is going to win practice this time as well. So we're going to ride on board with his roof cam of that Roasted Gems Coffee Chevrolet Silverado. And my line around here, Jason, is there's a dark strip basically where the right tires would land if you're running the very bottom of the track and turns, or all turns really. And right there, you see right there on the lower half of the track. That's where I usually try to aim my truck, is put the right sides, if not at least keep the lefts down there, because I find the most grip for me personally on that little strip.
Well, it also has the most grip, you know, just because of all the rubber being laid down. You could see it, you know, not so much in 1 and 2 because it's kind of shaded right now. But when this track is fully engulfed in just sunlight and obviously just, you know, regular stadium lighting like you see all the way around the racetrack, because I believe we will start here at dusk, and then it will obviously, you know, the sun will go down. We will end here in the nighttime. So you're going to see Tommy Schaefer way tight there on exit. I think he tried to get the most out of the truck that time by 175 at the line, but he goes to the top of the board right there for his lap. I believe that probably could have been a better lap for Tommy. We'll have to see if anybody tops him, maybe possibly Cody McKinney right here as he heads into 1.
Yeah, Cody McKinney running a solid line right on the yellow side of the apron there through 1 and 2, and Tommy Schaefer laid down that .357. He is the only truck to run a .3 in practice. Comes into qualifying and runs a .357, just a tick slower, but still the fastest on the boards right now. There's only one other driver in the .3s, and that's Brody Hanna. As you see, the 28 Cody McKinney back out of that lap, so he's going to secure that 30.5 for himself right now. Brody Hanna sitting P2, like I said, at a 30.392. The only other truck to crack that 0.3 of a second bracket at the 30-second mark. And I do see Jeff Chandler also in the chat spectating, so really two of the fastest guys right here just kind of having at it, watching our broadcast tonight, which is kind of strange, but hopefully work subdues. And Richie, after you have a nice little vacation, we'll see you back on track and leaving off where you were. But here is Ryan Chapman driving the 27 truck. He got his onboard camera here, and he's a little bit more on the push side there, on the center of the corner there, Jason.
Yeah, and the funny thing here about Ryan Chapman is, remember last week where we were sitting here talking about Ryan Chapman continuing the top 10 streak, had an awful day, an abysmal day, by far probably, in my opinion, his worst drive of 2023 so far from what I've seen over here on Nerd TV. And man, he struggled, was involved in nearly every single caution, could not catch a break, and somehow with all the chaos that somehow unfolded at the end of that race just last week at Lucas Oil, somehow this guy was still able to hold on to that top 10 consistent streak, which dates all the way back to New Hampshire from 5 races now in a row. So he's currently trying to make it 6 here tonight, as he currently resides just inside the top 10 in 9th here for the qualifying spot.
Yeah, he was not supposed to be in 10th place. He was definitely 11th through 20th, and somehow, some way, cautions fell to Ryan Chapman's favor and snuck in a top 10. So maybe this will be a little bit more earned tonight here. But we're on board JP Burns, number 99. He's going to get his first lap completed with a 30.901. That moves him up to, looks 13th place on the boards. And then we're going to switch over to Stephen Hollingsworth here in the 5 as well. He is coming on his first lap of this evening.
a driver who's been consistently fast here recently. You know, he's been doing very, very solid. You know, I believe just a few weeks ago too, he had a nice top 10. Just another driver who's continuing to get better and better and better every single week. I believe I battled with him a little bit on Monday, if I can remember. I don't know. I was in the back most of that race, so I don't really know who the heck was even running that race primarily, except probably Ryan Chapman and Alan Duranko. Those are the two guys I was really around, but we'll see how Steven does in the race tonight. Currently, P5 trucks seem to be his thing, so maybe tonight's the night that Stephen Hollingsworth gets it done in that number 5 Ford.
And qualifying is officially over, so Tommy Schaefer is going to win last week's race, tonight's practice session, and qualifying. Can he complete the sweep on the boards and go for practice qualifying and race? We got 134 laps to figure that out. And Richie Coy said Tommy Schaefer is on a roll. Yes, he is. Let's see if he can continue that momentum through tonight and then the final race of the season next week. But tonight's starting order, 20 trucks here at the Kentucky Speedway. Tommy Schaefer is going to start P1. Brody Hanna is going to start in second place. Marshall Johnson in the ninth truck will start third. Fourth place, Cody McKinney. Fifth place, Stephen Hollingsworth. Sixth place will be TJ Bartell. Seventh will be Brandon Gagnon. Eighth, Brandon Elder. Ninth, Robert Malikian. And tonight's 10th place truck, Ryan Chapman.
And then top 20 to round out the rest of the field. You have 11th, Joey McKinney in the 18 machine. 12th is Tony Solari, coming off a top 5 last week. 13th, Sherwood Williford in the 33 machine. 14th, JP Burns in the 99. 15th, Alan Duranko. 16th is Justin Diltz. 17th, Tyler Brown. 18th is Curtis Vollmer. And 19th, Colby Mice. With 20th, rounding out the field, Rick Webb. And that'll be your 20 truck starting lineup.
Okay, these guys have the nice staggered start here on pit road. I like to see this. Wasn't sure all the tracks that had it, but it's been a while since I've seen Kentucky, so I'm glad to see that there. And well, yeah, this race is gonna be pretty good. I'm assuming that this mid pack, probably 5th place on to 10th to 12th. A lot of those guys in that bracket are really close in all practice times, qualifying times. So I think the leaders are going to space themselves out here, but pay attention to this mid-pack. We usually see 10th place or so be the most eventful, and I think we're going to see the same thing here tonight.
Yeah, restarts too, Jeremy. Talk about those being really, really crazy. Every single time that NASCAR has come to Kentucky, restarts have been a very chaotic thing, whether it be down to 3 and 4, losing a lot of grip, down to 1 and 2, where it's really only 2 lanes, and you're trying the best you can to just dive it down in there. But restarts for sure will be key tonight. Remember, 40 laps after we complete here. Once we complete 40 laps, caution will come out for that one and only stage break, and then we'll go 134 laps the distance like you talked about. Restarts are going to be key, and who knows, maybe this thing will come down to fuel mileage because Kentucky has a tendency to do that.
It truly does here, and we're going to see what exactly goes on in this restart here. I think with a little bit extra grip on the top, we might see some fanning out early on in this race, but pace car is down, waiting for the green flag, and there it is. Green flag is out underway for this Kentucky 150 here in the 29. Tommy Schaefer gets a whole truck length advantage over Brody Hanna coming to turn number 1. The 28, Cody McKinney, who started in 4th place, is trying to push the 23, but just not enough momentum yet on the top. The number 9 of Marshall Johnson clears up into 2nd place.
We talked to Johnson last week, man. He said it. I don't want to be a bridesmaid anymore. And here he is, lap 1, coming off turn 4, looking to go for the lead on the inside of Tommy Schaefer. Not enough momentum that time by. Schaefer's going to lead this time by for the first lap, while Hollingsworth gets a push from Brody Hanna and then Brandon Gagnon back behind them. They're starting to fan out going to 1 and 2. Hollingsworth kind of gets a little tight off the corner. They're 3 wide almost down the back straightaway.
Johnson tried to utilize the mid-groove there. Not enough grip yet in that thing, and now Stephen Hollingsworth made a great move to the bottom, clears him for 2nd place, and then the number 5 tries to go up to the mid-groove. 23 of Brody Hanna sees the door open. He attacks that corner, but coming off corner exit 4, looks like the 5 of Hollingsworth had a lot more momentum, able to clear back around the 23, falls in line P2 once again.
Everybody just continuing to fan out more and more. Brody Hanna losing 1 spot from where he started, has his rear bumper filled with Brandon Gang as they heading to turn number 3. Brody Hanna kind of tries to dive it in a little bit. Hollingsworth gets a little loose on entry. Up the track he goes, presents an opportunity for Brody Hanna to make it to the inside, and Brandon Gang all the way down to the drain, possibly all the way down there. He's going to try to pick up a spot, dives it down in there, currently clears Brody Hanna, but side by side with second place Stephen Hollingsworth off too.
You got to be really careful there, dropping it below the yellow line on the front stretch of Kentucky specifically. There's so many bumps down there. It can really throw your truck or car, whatever you're racing, sideways in a hurry. So that time around, he did a fantastic job, utilizing momentum. He got around the 23, and now he's looking at, to pass the number 5 of Stephen Hollingsworth. Dead heat down the front straightaway here, coming to turn number 1. The number 5 of Hollingsworth has found some grip up there in that middle groove of this track, and it's making it tough for Gainan to get around him.
Yeah, the middle of the track definitely a little bit better probably per se at some points than the bottom, and obviously depending on how your truck is set up. But Jeremy, going back to your point, you just mentioned a great thing here about the inside right here down the front straightaway below that yellow line. It gets really bumpy. You just saw Brandon Gagnon kind of come up off the ground for a split second. You think back to a couple instances, Ryan Blaney in 2020 going for the win on the last lap, got all the way down there, made some contact with Harvick and Truex, presented Cole Custer with his first NASCAR Cup Series victory, and then I believe it was Noah Gragson a few years ago in the Truck Series, got down there, just unfortunately clipped the drain, spun out, caused a wreck down there into turn 1. And that's the thing, you don't want to get too far down there compared to most mile-and-a-halves that have that apron accessible to you if you want to make a pass down there. So you're going to have to be very careful coming back up on the track and obviously being on the apron too from that position.
Even this season, we've seen a couple instances where you try to move up the track from the apron and it just causes havoc, or at least potential anyways. And I want to shout out to this 38, Brandon Gagnon. We talked to our driver before this race started, and he said, "Don't count me in this one. I have no idea what's going on." This man's already up 5 positions, started 7th, now resides in 2nd place. He's only a half a second back of Tommy Schaefer. So while he was moving through the field, he was also gaining on the leaders. But as we now focus in on the 99 here, that's JP Burns on the bottom of the number 11 of Tony Slaughter. And I really love this. I know like last year, Jason, we did not see many trucks or cars move to the upper half of the newly paved Kentucky because there was no speed. But if you're seeing this right now, seeing the 11, the 33, the 91 right behind them, they're all utilizing the 2nd and 3rd groove of this track early on.
Kentucky's just a very odd, really mile-and-a-half ever since this repave, because it kind of, if you really want to think about it, it kind of became like a little Texas Motor Speedway, even though they're both the same exact length, but obviously a little bit differently shaped. One has, kind of like a quad oval, I guess what they call it, and then one has a regular tri-oval. That's just continuously turning left compared to Texas, where you're turning left real quick straight and then another left back to straightaway into turn 1 like Charlotte Motor Speedway. And that's the thing, ever since this repave, the track's a lot wider, obviously being reconfigured, more banking, I believe, down into turn number 1, and 3 and 4, I think, has less banking. I'm not too sure. I'm not up to par with my Kentucky stats, but this track definitely one of the more awkward mile-and-a-halfs that we go to. And really the racing is kind of always, you never know. Sometimes you'll have a lot of grip, like you see Ryan Chapman having there in the middle between Joey McKinney and other drivers as well. But yeah, I mean, this track just presents some racing that kind of can be unpredictable at times.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the track overall, the old one, had less banking. I was trying to confirm that there. I've not got that information just yet, but there's a nice little battle here. Looking on the back roof camera angle of our in-race reporter from iRock 93.5, that is Ryan Chapman. We're seeing some 3-wide action. Marshall Johnson in the middle, Joseph McKinney on the top, and it looks like the 75 of TJ Bartell on the bottom. They still remain 3-wide all the way down the front straightaway to the very end of it, where the 75 of Bartell does clear. Marshall pushes up a little bit on corner entry, and that's going to allow Joseph McKinney to momentarily take that spot over.
Marshall Johnson is dropping like a rock from lap 1 coming to the line, going for the lead on Brody Hanna. And both those guys have lost a handful of positions. Brody Hanna losing 3 from where he started. He resides in 5th at the moment, currently trying to attack Stephen Hollingsworth, all while trying to defend Robert Malikian, who's been very strong as of recent here in the FTSR division. And then obviously Marshall falling back 6 spots, so possibly burning up the tires just a little too much, maybe even saving possibly. But battle for the lead right now. Last week's winner under fire from Brandon Gagnon from Nerd Motorsports. He looks to go to the inside here as he works in a 3 and 4.
Thanks to dive there to the bottom of this race leader. Brandon's been consistently one of the fastest trucks since the start of the green flag. Obviously already up 5 positions, and he's got 1 more to go before we're going to have our first lead change if he can make this pass, which it seems to be a little bit more tough now since there's a little bit extra grip there on the 3rd lane. But the 38 in the center of the corner, that's where he rolled the best. It made the pass at least momentarily on the back straightaway. Dead heat coming to turn 3. The 29 Schaefer tries to drive it in just a little bit deeper, but this is where the 38 excelled in turn 1 and 2. Doesn't do it as much this time off turn 4. And Tommy Schaefer is going to get his nose across the line, still leads that lap.
And you know who's absolutely loving this right now is those 2 guys behind them. Cody McKinney, Brody Hanna took one another out late in the going last weekend as Brandon Gagnon just barely clears Tommy Schaefer for the lead. New race leader, the 38 Toyota Tundra. But Tommy Schaefer going to try to go back at it one more time. Cody McKinney, Brody Hanna late in the race last week, Jeremy, had an overtime finish. Brody sent it in a little too hard, unfortunately, got into Cody. I believe there were some discussions after the race. Do not know what they were about. I'm sure they probably agreed to disagree more than likely, as most drivers do. But you see them right now still trying to battle it out very cleanly. But Brody not giving him a ton of room off turn number 2. And you got to think, Jeremy, these guys probably know in the back of their heads, hey, I was raced a little bit odd last week. I got to race this guy probably differently.
Oh, 100%. You know for sure they remember that contact. And but at the same token, you can't go easier on the guy. You know you're really competitive with one another, almost dead even speeds, right, on a consistent pace. So you have to kind of press the issue a little bit, utilize some side draft, maybe put a guy in not a bad spot, but somewhere where he's a little bit more uncomfortable to make that pass. You see Brody Hanna. He was driving it really good there on the bottom side of the 28 of Cody McKinney. Makes the pass happen, so he's going to resume now in 3rd place.
Yeah, and a great job by Brody Hanna to just, keep on trying to move back up through this field from where he started. And Cody McKinney currently still 4th. And here's Ryan Chapman. He's already up 4 spots. You got Robert Malikian. He's up 4 as well. 2 guys who are looking to continue some strong, stellar runs. Obviously, we finally got to talk to Rob last week from IRP. With all the chaos that ensued, Rob ended up finishing P3 there. So it was nice to talk to him. And he said to us after the race, during post-race interviews, hey, I just want to get one of these done. I already finished 3rd, so podium's checked off. And a win's on the horizon next year as Brody Hanna goes around Tommy Schaefer, this time by into 1.
Brody Hanna's showing some mid-run speed here. Usually he has all of it in the beginning half of the run, but not starting, or he dropped back rally. He started 2nd place. He fell back quite a few positions, but he let the truck come to him. He let the other guys wear out their tires a little bit more. And this 23 is set and sailed. Last time by, he was 0.73 off of Brandon Gagnon. Coming to the line this time after he clears the 29 of Tommy Schaefer. Going to lose a 10th there at a 0.846 away. But now he's got that fresh air on that nose, and he's going to start reeling them in.
A little bit of a toe, too, with the draft. And obviously, clean air means so much here to Jeremy. Like, you've seen countless times, especially here in the truck series, just because of the amount of downforce and the lower horsepower that these guys have here tonight. And also when the Craftsman Truck Series did used to run here just a handful of years ago. But, Brody did not take off very strongly in the beginning of this race now as we're on lap 21. Remember, he fell back just a little bit outside the top 5, I think, started clawing his way back up now to 2nd, trying to run down the leader. So I think maybe in the back of his mind, too, he knows that on the pit stop, when it's presented to him, maybe make an adjustment, sacrifice a little long run speed to have a better fire off because, you never know when clean air is going to be your best friend here, and that's probably what he's going to need if he wants to try to get out front.
Yeah, 100% here. And just to make a quick mention, we are just past halfway on stage number 1. You will see the caution flag fly around lap 40 when those guys cross the line to do so, unless there's a caution within 5 laps of that window. It will be scheduled at lap 40. And we're currently on lap number 22. As the race lead has really kind of, been very consistent. 0.7 that time, 0.8 the lap before, 0.8 lap before that. Just not really making too much gain, but right now all these trucks, Jason, are really single file. The 28 Cody McKinney has a little bit of a moment off turn 4, gets loose in front of the 27 Ryan Chapman. That opens the door for Ryan to go down to the bottom, and it looks like he's going to be able to clear Cody, as Cody's still sliding that rear end just a little bit out there through center.
Yeah, and Ryan got a little bit loose there too, off corner exit. He's trying to defend down the back straightaway into 3, but we're taking a look here at the Nerd TV replay. Right there, you see Ryan Chapman going by him, but here it is off turn 4. I think maybe there was a little bit of contact here. Cody was starting to get, it's close. It's kind of hard to tell right there if there was contact, but you saw the 28 drifting up to the wall, and then the 27 was right behind him. Perfect angle right here. You see the 28 starting to get loose, starting to get tight right here. No contact at all, actually. So heads up driving by Ryan Chapman and not running to the back of him. I'm sure, though, he was pretty much full throttle, knowing he was going to get the run off the corner due to Cody getting loose as well. And Cody's just continuing to fall right now. Rob's just getting past him. Here comes TJ Bartell, Marshall Johnson right there behind him. Cody McKinney off to kind of a poor start in his eyes probably right now. We're used to seeing him up in the top 2, heck, leading an entire race practically. If it's not, Richie Coy, it's Cody. And that 28 machine definitely looks to be struggling right here in the half of the run.
Yeah, that one little wobble, I mean, it looked minor on our perspective, right? But that increased your tire temps probably 5 or 10 degrees. And that's not optimal for those Goodyears. So now he's feeling the effects of that truck wanting to get a little bit more loose, scrubbed off some extra speed. And now he's fallen to the 16 of Robert Malikian, and now under fire with the 75 of TJ Bartell and Marshall Johnson soon after. So he just needs to take care of his stuff for the remaining 15 laps in this stage to get those things changed off his truck. We're going to do a quick shout out to one of our partners. Of course, I like to start off with the series sponsor. So Martin Sports, small company with a big time product, home of the sim gloves of sim racing. Martin Sports makes the most breathable and durable gloves the sim world has ever seen, but they also specialize in fully customized sublimation printing on everything from team uniforms to shirts and hoodies, which allows for zero restriction on color and also allows for the absolute fastest turnaround in the business. So check out their full apparel and merchandise line at martinsports906.com. And whatever you do purchase, you get a huge discount from Scott Martin. Super Nerd will save you 25% off anything you do purchase from Martin Sports.
Yeah, and obviously I received a little bit of a gift package from Scott Martin recently last week. And, man, I tell you what, folks, their products, especially what Scott does over there, man, they really do mean it. Sim gloves, absolutely the best things I've ever worn on the sim when it comes to glove wear for sure. The T-shirts, they're amazing. The hats, the stickers, you name it. He's got some of the best products, if not the best for sure. So, Scott, if you're watching, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's why the nerds choose him, baby. That's right. Dustin says in our ear. But, Scott, thank you again for the little gift package. I really do appreciate it. I'm actually wearing my Martin Sports jersey right now, and dang, it's really comfy.
I'm wearing mine. It's also, we're on the same boat there for sure. Enjoy wearing this thing. Super lightweight. And it looks awesome, too. But jumping back to the action here, if you actually pull up the iRacing iFlag track map. Oh, never mind. We have a caution here. Cody McKinney off of turn number 4 is going to bring up the first caution presented by Roasted Gems Coffee. And it's going to be all by himself, getting really, really loose. You see those hands through the windshield, really loose, and then just right in front of Stephen Hollingsworth, sends him away.
Man, it's going to be a hell of a save, but I think that Steven probably thought that the 28 was going to get it back up and running and didn't think that he was going to get too loose right there And then unfortunately, you just saw him go around after some contact here. We're going to take a look on board from Cody McKinney. You see him, he's slide, man. He's probably driving a big block modified at Lima Land, probably here on the dirt. That's what it looked like there heading off turn 4. But that car, thankfully, not a lot of damage. Don't know how the left side looks. It's not going to hurt him that badly if it is. But if it's on the spoiler, it is a possibility. But, I mean, still some damage there. Just nothing that the 5 could do, unfortunately. Heartbreaker that Cody McKinney went around so early, man. The struggles continue for him here tonight, all the way back to 19th now.
And that's exactly what I saw in practice, with a lot of people getting loose in that same exact manner off corner exit. It's just there's so much speed, and the trucks are so late with these trucks, and it just causes them to get loose on the long runs. It's just almost impossible to avoid it. And as Dustin likes to call it out, coffin corner 4. I guarantee you that's not the first time we're going to see an incident similar to that as this race progresses. But as they're down pit road and whatnot, we're going to kick it to our first picture-in-picture commercial break. We'll be back with you guys shortly before the drop of the green flag. And we are back to full screen here as these guys are stacked up, ready to go. Green flag next time by. When they take the green flag, they'll have 7 laps to go to get themselves in position for that stage win if they can. Number 38, Brandon Gagnon, obviously showing a great deal of speed, up 6 positions. He's going to be starting first place. And the drivers are actually talking to Brody about why he didn't start the way he did. He started this race in second place, just did not go, dropped a few spots back, and then he made it all back up. And he simply said, I was just taking it easy. So, you know, that just shows the speed this 23 has. So if he gets on a little bit harder, a little bit earlier, like he's going to need to for this stage break, this could be an awesome battle here between the 38, 23, and the 29 for this stage.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And I wonder if possibly maybe Brody did make an adjustment just, you know, per se on, you know, that pit stop. Or actually, no, never mind. I don't even believe he pitted. So he, you know, now that he knows what he has, maybe we're going to see him be more aggressive, knowing there's only a handful of laps here before the stage end.
I don't know why you wouldn't pit. You have 3 sets of tires waiting for you, and you're already a quarter of the way done with this race, or at least close to it. So we'll see how that's going to work out here. Green flag is out. This race is back underway. The 38 and the 23, almost a dead heat here. Oh, but the 23 had a little bit of a tire spin, I think. He's going to check up the top side of the lane. Ryan Chapman getting right up to the bumper, but has to release on the 29. Tommy Schaefer is going to drive it deep into turn 1 and 2, riding on the tail end there of the 38.
Yeah, and I thought Tommy Schaefer was possibly going to shove it down in there 3 wide, possibly. He is all over the rear tailgate of Brandon Gagnon on this restart. In fact, he's going to roll through the center just a little bit better. But on exit, Brandon Gagnon has all the speed in the world down to the front straightaway. 6 laps to go in the stage, but Tommy Schaefer with some wicked speed coming down into turn number 1. That 29 is hooked up on these starts and restarts.
These guys were 3 wide for 10th place while that was going on as well. Huge, crazy battle there for around 10th place, but it continues to have a strong battle here. Hollingsworth trying to shove 16 of Malikian around the 00 Tyler Brown. And you see back to 3 wide here through 3 and 4. 2 rows deep or 3 wide here coming off a turn 4. 4 wide if the 00 can get his nose there. He cannot. They're going to remain 3 wide, though, all the way down the front straightaway here, coming to turn 1.
I don't like the way this looks, Jeremy. Lots of guys are just sliding up the racetrack. Some are trying to cut down low, and this is all for points here in the top 10. 5, now 4.5 laps to go down the back straightaway. You see Cody McKinney trying to make his way back up, and even though it's 5 wide in the center of 3 and 4, this is absolutely insane. I don't know if it's going to work. They're 4 wide down the front stretch. Malikian, oh my goodness. Still. I do not know how they have not wrecked yet. It might happen, though, right here.
They're still 3 and 4 wide. 4 wide still. The whole entire lap has been 4 and 5 wide. This is absolutely insane. They finally back down. The 9 of Marshall Johnson says enough's enough for that. I am done. And they go back to 2 wide here momentarily. But these guys are definitely trying to get everything out of these trucks.
And you know something too, Jeremy, here's the thing you got to look at. Look who's all the way up to 3rd already. Cody McKinney now going to 2nd with help from Stephen Hollingsworth. Just 3 laps to go right here at the line. I think Cody McKinney is going to be able to get Brandon Gagnon, and Stephen Hollingsworth has a set of tires on him as well.
As they make their way to turn number 3, Stephen Hollingsworth always has a really fast short run here. About the 38, checks up massively through 3 and 4. He's going to lose 2 spots real quick to the 28 and the 5. Cody McKinney is going to get the 2nd lead change here. He was the only caution about, 10 laps ago, and now he's leading this thing. And he's got a 3 truck length advantage over the number 5 of Stephen Hollingsworth back to the backstretch.
Right here this time, can Stephen Hollingsworth possibly get this stage win? I cannot believe the drive that Cody McKinney and also Stephen Hollingsworth have made back up to the front of this field. Also Marshall Johnson currently sitting in 5th, who clears Tommy Schaefer off turn number 4 this time by. 1 lap to go though in the stage. Can Hollingsworth catch Cody McKinney, and will he make an effort to pass him?
He's right there on the bumper. He's got to make 1 mistake. He looks to the top side there, a little bit harder. Drive off corner exit. 28. Ooh. Cody McKinney puts a massive block to the bottom here, but Stephen Hollingsworth knows there's a little bit of grip. He's going to back up corner entry, but it's just not going to be enough. The 28, Cody McKinney, goes from spinning himself out to turn 4 to winning stage here for stage 1.
What a hell of a stage finish right there for Cody McKinney and Stephen Hollingsworth. I thought Stephen was going to do it off turn number 2 and get to Cody McKinney, but McKinney did everything he needed to do down that back straightaway with blocking from top to middle, bottom, whatever you want to call it, and then all the way down into turn number 3. The 5 had to go to the top, tried to back up the corner earlier, tried to kind of arc it through the center, but Cody McKinney just put the pedal to the metal just at the right time and was able to clear Stephen Hollingsworth, obviously off turn 4.
Epic racing right there. I have not seen 5 wide in quite some time myself, and we saw that almost for an entire lap. Absolutely insane, but that's going to be the short end of the run here as we got, about 85 laps or so on this 2nd stage. We're going to try to get a quick word with one of the drivers on the track. I think we should bring in the number 28 of Cody McKinney. See if I can't grab him into our channel real fast, if I even see him in here, which I do not. So we're going to go down the list and try to find the next available driver.
Stephen Hollingsworth. Let's see if we can get him.
A lot of these guys are just not showing up on the
They
chat
just
here.
don't want to be here, man.
They don't. They're going to make me scroll up a little bit further. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to gather up who is going to be available for us, and we'll be back shortly. And we're going back to full screen here. We got 2 laps left before we're going to start stage number 2. And the person that I think we found available is the guy now leading the race after pit stops, because the 16 did not pit when everybody else did, because he pitted shortly before that stage on the previous caution. So we're going to bring in the number 16 Robert Malikian, driver of the Elevated Esports Machine. Robert, you got a copy?
Yep, got you.
Hey, man, that was a pretty tense little shootout there to end the stage. The pit stop you made prior, do you think the tires are going to hold up here, as we may have another long green flag run here on this restart?
I hope so. I can't point my way into the playoffs, so I'm just trying to do something different than everyone else is doing. I thought some of the other guys that pitted that time with me would be taking it easy, but they seemed to go. They were going for the stage win, I guess. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, 100% there. And how's your truck feeling overall? Do you feel like you can contend on these long runs and keep that speed?
Oh yeah, we have a really good long run truck. I think have a new setup built by Top Split, and it's been great so far. We were holding 4th or 5th there before the caution came out, so we got some speed.
Excellent, man. Well, we let you get back to it. You did finish 3rd last week, so hopefully you can go back-to-back podiums. We'll bring it back to your team, and good luck the rest of the way.
10-4. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that, once again, was the 16. Robert Malikian, who's going to start this race, P1, and Cody McKinney on fresh set of tires, is going to be starting in 2nd place.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how the tires hold up for Robert Malikian. And we were all just talking, collectively as a production broadcast booth here, thinking to ourselves, will Robert being able to hold off these guys? Dustin made a great point saying, hey, I think he'll be all right. What we just saw, that was like 30, 35 lap older tires compared to newer ones. And now you're going to be seeing a guy who pitted on lap 31 compared to guys who pitted on lap 42. So maybe this could work out for Robert. I mean, he's had some speed. He started inside the top 10. He's made his way up. Maybe that 16 machine can hold off. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, 100% there, and the lights have turned on around this track, it looks like, and sunset is inevitable. We're at 8:18 local time here at Kentucky, and this track's going to cool off a little bit more. You're going to find a little extra speed in this track as we continue to wind down these laps here for this Kentucky 150. Pace car is pulling down. Let's see if the 16 can have a great restart here, or will the really fast 28 Cody McKinney have an excellent launch and take over the race lead early. Just waiting for the green flag. They're in the restart zone. Green flag is out. This stage 2 was underway rather, and the number 5 of Hollingsworth is just going to push Robert all the way down the front stretch, gives him a great boost, clears the 28, and the 5 actually clears as they go 3 wide here for 3rd through 5th.
Talk about a hell of a move out of the 5 of Stephen Hollingsworth, who gets a little tight on corner exit, but gets up to the outside of Malikian down the back straightaway. He's looking to try to burst him side by side down into the corner, and you could just see how much. And the 5's around in front of the field. Will he save it? No, he won't. Hard hit to the wall, and it looks like Robert Malikian might have went around. I believe he saved it. We stay green. What a moment off turn number 4.
I don't know how Robert Malikian did not spin out when the number 5 of Hollingsworth clipped the right rear corner panel off corner exit. That would have been huge hit impact on the outside wall, but did not do it. Kept it going straight, but this might have affected his performance. He's now dropped several positions on track here. Looks all the way back to about 7th or 8th here as he's side by side with 23, but this is not good for the 16 nor the 5, obviously.
Can't wait to see if we can get a replay of this, because that was absolutely insane. Talk about one of the saves of the season, save of the year. Oh, Curtis Vollmer, you see him dropping back right there. And here's a look. The 5 ultimately just cold tires, trying to slide up to the wall, gets loose. You see the 16 saves it. He's got some right front damage. It looks a little caved in, so it's probably going to affect the way he races from here on out, unless he's able to get that optimal repair time. And there's the 5 right there, getting sideways. And then unfortunately he makes hard contact with the wall.
Yeah, his night is going to be done unless they get a caution. But I think this race is going to have very few cautions overall. We were seeing 5 wide and didn't have a caution, so like to expect multiple cautions to get him back up and repaired, I just don't see that happening. But it could play into his factor. Who knows as this race goes wind down? A lot of these trucks have single file till about 10th place as they set pace for the mid run in this race right now. But yeah, we saw a couple other trucks while we are going over the replay. At least I saw. The number 9 of Marshall Johnson, he hit the wall about 3 laps to go on the outside of turn 3 and 4. He dropped back all the way to 18th place. Not good for him right now as he has to regroup and get back to where he was well within the top 10 earlier on.
Yeah, and he was running very, very strong. And even was really running strong right there at the end of the stage. So we'll have to see how that number 9 gets back through this field. But everybody just fighting, clawing for every single position, as they always are every single week. Still single file, though. Want to give a good shout out to Curtis Vollmer and that 48 machine. Plus 12 from where he started right now. Currently the biggest mover on the racetrack. And he's battling side by side right now with Tommy Schaefer, making sure he doesn't lose a position off turn number 4. He's going to look to clear him, just not enough. Now it is. That 48 machine, remember when Dustin and I talked to him back at Iowa a handful of weeks ago? He was ecstatic to finish in the top 3. Probably the most ecstatic interview I've heard all year long. And he said, hey, watch out. We're going to be doing great things. We've seen him have some good runs here and there. We've also seen him kind of fall outside of his comfort zone and fall way to the back, get involved in wrecks. But here he is tonight having a good run so far.
Yeah, excellent run there. That plus 12. That's huge there to run through the field that quick. And he had a little moment there off turn 4. It's going to allow the 29 of Tommy Schaefer to get to the inside and try to clear him into turn number 1. He does so. 48 drops back to the bottom in front of the 00 Tyler Brown. I want to jump over to the YouTube chats there. I see Storm saying, guess I'll come watch the race now. I guess he was racing and missed a shift apparently. So now he's here. And then I see Celine Serrano saying, let's go, Robert. And then Diane Chapman, of course, saying, let's go, Ryan, his weekly cheerleader. And Mr. Ryan Chapman running mid-pack right now. 9th place, started 10th. So he's just kind of been finding a home right there just within the top 10.
Yeah, he was in the top 5 earlier on. He's just doing a really solid job tonight. Not really involved in any issues, unfortunately, like he was last week, but somehow still managed to finish in the top 10. And I tell you what, man, if Ryan Chapman could just come out of here with another top 10, it just feels better and better. And I know in his mind, it's not the best result to finish out top 10, especially when there's only 20 trucks here tonight. But continuing that top 10 streak, and if he can make it 6 in a row tonight, that would be absolutely insane. I mean, he had an opportunity back at Michigan to win. I believe it was the Cup Series, if I'm correct. Maybe it was the Truck Series. Unfortunately, could not get it done. But here he is right now, having a solid performance tonight, continuing to try and work towards that top 10 streak as well. Robert Milikian goes way up the track, pushes Curtis Vollmer out of the groove, and Curtis is going to lose not 1, not 2, but about 4 positions all the way down the front straightaway.
Yeah, that was interesting from my perspective. It almost looked like a domino effect. The 48 Vollmer was trying to drive down into the corner, just trying to straighten up that exit line. And then the same token, the 16 just moved up a little bit. The 48 then had to really shift up high to avoid that. They go wide. They span almost 3 wide off of turn 4. That definitely costed Curtis Vollmer quite a few spots now as he got to the line last time in 14th. He's going to be side by side with Tony Solari this time. And he's going to find himself still in 14th at the line.
Yeah, and he's just dropping back, but also trying to fight back towards the front. Just unfortunately, that move with him going up the track a little bit really hurt his momentum. You see him again up the racetrack that time. Currently 13th now. Still battling side by side with Tony Solari. You see Robert Milikian. He's continuing to fall back just a little bit right now. Still 10th right now in the top 10, but it's looking like he could lose more positions here as the laps wind down. You see this gaggle of traffic back here, double wide. It looks like a restart going down into turn 1, and I can just imagine in Robert's, probably his cockpit, that right front is not wanting to turn in the corner.
Absolutely not. I was kind of watching that number 8 there. Colby Mice had a little bit of a hiccup to the center 1 and 2. Checked out Robert Malikian in the 16 on the back straightaway. But then the number 8 turns around, has an excellent turn 3 and 4, clears this pack of trucks behind them by 5 or 6 truck lengths, and looks like the outside is finding some momentum here. Got some rubber on the track now, closing in on halfway completed in this race. And I'm still surprised that this track is multi-grooved when the sun is almost completely set down on this facility.
Yeah, the track temperature really has only changed a little bit. I believe it was about 86 when we started. It's about 82 now, currently on lap 59. So, whoa, a big moment right there for Curtis. Yeah, that was a great move right there, going from basically top, middle to bottom. But just because of that momentum breaker, he's going to fall back consistently right here as he slots right in front of JP Burns. But yeah, I'm very surprised with the amount of grip. I will say, Jeremy, if this was a day race in the heat of the day, I don't think you'd see this track as racy as it is here right now.
No, I 100% agree with you there, and I'm enjoying this here because Kentucky sometimes can be, can be a sleeper for sure. But these guys right now in the Martin Sports Truck Series at Full Throttle Sim Racing are just putting on a hell of a show. And of course, it's right around 10th place. Huge wreck. The 48 Curtis Vollmer absolutely destroyed the left front of his truck, and that's the third caution tonight, and he's just going to complete the impact, kills the rear end. 48 Curtis Vollmer is going to be done for this race.
Man, oh my goodness. Just Tony Solari, really, really hard hit. That was by far one of the hardest hits we've seen all season long. And then this rear impact, boom, right into the wall. Hard impact for Curtis, man. That was just a hellacious slam to the outside, on board with him. Boom, driver's side. Looking like Denny Hamlin at Charlotte earlier this year. Another driver involved. I believe that was Joey McKinney, possibly Marshall Johnson as well, involved late in the going, heading into turn 1. Did see Joey McKinney, though, up and into the wall. We're going to have to take a look here at another replay. And yeah, the 48 actually looked like, Jeremy, just from that angle, like he was coming up. Yeah, it definitely looks like he was coming up right there. And unfortunately, Tony was just barely there on his right front. And unfortunately, Curtis just turns himself.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to get you on slow-mo. From my view, it was definitely just coming up the track, and you can see it on that slow-mo clear as day. Just shifted up about a half a lane or so. But if you kind of look too, this is my problem with Kentucky, really. I don't know if Dustin can go back and rewind that same exact angle from chase view. Look at the grooves here between the first and second lane, right? There's about 2 truck lengths of space. And then, like, the lanes kind of shift. Now you're going to see the yellow line. It's going to move up closer and closer into that lane. And the grooves kind of merge together right there. Where Sherwood Williford is. So, like, there's a visual, like, weird sensation that a driver might get. But still, the 48 came up from the yellow line regardless. Made the contact. But you see right there with the mouse pointer. That is definitely something that I've always had an issue with Kentucky. I don't know why they did that, but that might have played a part in Curtis Vollmer's incident.
Yeah, and you know, that's actually a very, very good point, Jeremy. One of those things that a lot of people actually forget about here with Kentucky is we just had some green flag pit stops. Elder, Chapman, Dilts, they all stay on lap 42 tires. Cody McKinney and all of them, they have lap 62 tires now. But back to your point, that's a great thing that a lot of people tend to forget about, including myself coming in here tonight. I'm unfortunately, I'm a culprit of it. I forgot about it. This track has such a weird exit. And you know what the funny thing is about that is I remember when this track, I want to say it was maybe on NASCAR Heat or maybe NASCAR Heat 2. I remember when I would do league races before I made the swap over to iRacing. I remember when we were all racing here, testing out the tracks when the game first came out, and we were like, did they mess up on Kentucky? Why does the line come up right into the center of the track and it just narrows up? Turns out that wasn't a mistake. That's actually how Kentucky is. And a lot of drivers will kind of get, a little bit discombobulated just because of that. Like, you could see right there just from that angle how wide that apron gets compared from the front straightaway until you hit going into turn 1. So very interesting thing to point out, which could lead to some more issues possibly later on in this race.
Yeah, because we're used to just following the lines, right? Like, we're going to hug the yellow, we're going to hug the seam in the track, this and that. And then when they merge, you're like, okay, which one do I actually have to follow in a split-second decision? Sometimes you make the wrong one. And then I see Richie back on the YouTube chat saying, "Ooh, fancy mouse, go Dustin McReynolds." Drawing. If we can get a yellow line that we could circle stuff, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, the
But you
digital
know,
yellow markers.
Walter White's white mouse pointer will just have to do for right now. He said he's
Yeah.
working on it, Richie.
And that's obviously so cool. Hopefully, if we can get that, because I always love that's just one of the classic NASCAR. I feel like staples. I know obviously the NFL uses it. I don't know. I haven't watched enough MLB broadcasts to know if they use it either. But just growing up with my childhood, watching Larry McReynolds say, "Oh, look at this right here. You see the tire? It starts to come apart there." And you just circle it. It's just a staple of NASCAR broadcasting. So we'll have to see. Maybe that marker possibly will be as yellow as Barney the Flagman's yellow flag right there in his hand.
I always call him the John Madden of NASCAR.
There he is.
I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what. Yeah, there we go. Yep, see him waving the yellow yellow flag there. He just kind of casually holds it, and I think by next week, I think we can get him at least a yellow mouse pointer. That should be an easy fix, right?
We'll have to see about that one. Possibly.
He has to give up the green one though.
Yeah, he does. Cause see, for you folks at home, you can't see it, but we can see his little green mouse pointer, and maybe we'll have to make. Yeah, there he is. He's wiggling it for us. No pun intended. And it's all green right now, but it's all green right now. But maybe we can get the regular mouse to turn yellow, so we can have kind of like a 1/3 effort at a Larry McReynolds yellow marker possibly here. But Jeremy, they're getting ready for this restart, man. 20 lap older tires compared to 20 lap newer tires. This is not going to end up very well, I think, for Ryan Chapman or Justin Diltz.
Yeah, no, I kind of questioned the 16 Robert Malikian, but he believed in those that short run, about 5 laps of difference on tire for him. But yeah, this is a much bigger difference, and we kind of saw it. We saw a couple of trucks before the stage end that just fell back because they had no grip, like the 23 of Brody Hanna. So, will the 27 and the 91 suffer, or do they have something up their sleeves that we do not know about? These guys are going to crawl to the Geico restart zone here, and we're going to see the green flag fly for the 4th time here tonight. And the 27, the 38, they both get a great launch over the 91 of Justin Diltz, and Brandon's just carrying Ryan into turn 1.
Yeah, but I'm sure enough here that Brandon Gagnon's going to make quick work of Ryan Chapman once they get off turn 2. Look at Justin Diltz. He's already getting put 3 wide off the corner down the back straightaway. Here comes Brandon Gagnon, pulls out of line down to the inside of the racetrack. JP Burns made quick work of those guys as Brandon sends it into the corner, easily going to clear Ryan Chapman off the corner, while the 91 continues to fall back. He's getting put 2, sometimes 3. They're 4 wide almost here, Jeremy, down the front stretch.
Once again, trying to go 4 wide here. The number 9, Marshall Johnson, back to the middle, has to back off real quick here, as just this back half of the field just continues to be quite entertaining from our perspective. I know from their racing team, they're having a lot of fun, or they're really frustrated why they just can't make any passes because everyone's so just bobbled up here. And there's more bobbling going on. The 8, Colby Mice really checks up. Number 00, Tyler Brown, has to move to the top. They go back to 3 wide with the number 2 of Durango on the bottom here. And the 00 is going to sneak past the outside of the 91. Almost goes 4 wide, but they had enough momentum to stay 3.
And here yelling, oh, because that 00 made contact with the right rear of Justin Diltz, nearly turned him up into the outside wall. And Justin Diltz is always going to turn it around goes Solari, Williford, Mice. He gets through it. There's Marshall Johnson, gets through as well. You had to think, Jeremy, that something was going to happen there, and it happened off turn number 2 due to the 91's old tires against new.
And this was down the back straightaway. They came off the corner. They were all straight here. We're going to go straight to the Nerd TV replay. Slow motion here, as we're going to bring it quarter speed. They're right there. They're corner exit. They're clear. And then the number 2, Durango, just comes up, clips the front end of 91 Justin Diltz, and then the number 11 of Tony Solari, just completely innocent, gets clipped, sent him to the bottom. And then, man, the 33 of Williford had the number 11 cleared, but then Colby Mice found him.
Colby Mice, man, he might have to send a get better soon card to Sherwood Williford after that one. Monday night's Mach 1 Performance Cup winner at Indianapolis. Very unfortunate there for Sherwood because he sure enough was going to make it right through that wreck here. We're going to take another look at the Nerd TV replay, this time on board with Cody McKinney, who watches this all unfold in front of him, starts trying to get on the brakes, goes from the bottom to the middle, to the bottom, back to the middle, back to the bottom. Cody McKinney did a good job, and somebody else too who did a great job as well was Robert Malikian in the number 16 machine too. He was able to get it woed up just enough to be able to get around Sherwood Williford and Colby Mice making contact, as well as Solari on the inside spinning.
As we're on board now, Robert Malikian's roof camera here sees the contact initially, and then they cross right in front of him. You saw just on the left-hand side, Tony Solari cross over. The 8 Colby Mice almost comes down into his right rear quarter panel there, and he drives unscathed from that wreck. So, yeah, that was a pretty lucky scenario there for the 16 to clear all that carnage that was going on the back straightaway for our 4th caution this evening. But we're going to kick it back to another picture-in-picture. Be back shortly before the drop of the green flag.
I was going to say.
And back to full screen here. We got just underneath 1 lap left before we're going to go back to green flag for the 5th time this evening. And the 38, Brandon Gagnon, is going to resume as your race leader. Elects to choose the bottom on this restart. He's got TJ Bartel right behind him. This is the furthest the 75 has been up all race long. And that really strong number 29, Tommy Schaefer, is going to be restarting just on the outside of your race leader, Brandon Gagnon, on this restart. And this second stage has been quite crazy so far. I expected a long green flag run. That idea has been completely thrown out the window. And before we go to green flag, really, I want to quickly shout out one of our new partners, Dusty Pete's Hobby Store with a whole lot more. They're based out of New York. So if collecting is the game, Dusty Pete's is the name, with comics. They got action figures, a bunch of different collectible cards. So
Nerd
if you're in
stuff.
the comic game, anything nerd stuff, visit dustypete's.com. Super Nerd at checkout, 10% off. They have some awesome stuff. And NASCAR diecast, too, at a really good price point. So make sure to check out DustyPete's.com. These guys are at the Geico Restart, and we are green flagged for the 5th time this evening.
And Brandon Gagnon gets a really good restart here, but he doesn't have as much help behind him like we've seen everybody else do on that front row here all night long. Tommy Schaefer able to get to the right rear quarter panel, kind of just drags him back a little bit down into turn number 1. Bartel's going to have a little bit better rotation than these guys off corner exit, but Gagnon still holds the top spot, trying to defend not only Schaefer, but Bartel charging hard down on the inside.
Yeah, great run here by TJ Bartel. The furthest he's been all night long, and he's actually getting a great corner exit here. Going to keep the momentum with the 29 of Tommy Schaefer, who exits really wide on corner exit, straightens up that wheel, and keeps the same amount of speed there down the front straightaway. And they get really close to each other back to turn number 1 through 2. The 29 shoots up the track just a little bit there. It's going to cost him a half a truck length there, and the 75 of Bartel is going to take second place.
Man, the 38 of Brandon Gagnon just chopped the 75's nose off as he's getting really loose through turn 3 and 4. He's still trying to hang on to it, and he will with Brody Hanna pushing him down the front straightaway, almost 3 wide. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Tommy Schaefer had enough momentum off turn 4, dove it out to the outside lane. Now they're side by side, both Schaefer and Gagnon off turn number 2, and Schaefer kind of pointing his way out towards this lead as they work into 3.
Man, drove it a little too deep into the corner there, a little early, and really cost him a lot of momentum. Drops to 2nd to 4th, almost went back to 5th. Now then 29 of Tommy Schaefer has a great charge on the top side here of the 38. Brandon Gagnon at the line, only 2 1,000ths of a second separates the new race leader, Tommy Schaefer, in the 38.
Yeah, and they're still side by side. Still off turn number 2 this time by. It kind of presents an opportunity for not only TJ Bartel, who's been up there, but Tyler Brown working his way up here into the top 3, battling with Bartel behind them. Gagnon sends it in a little bit more than Schaefer into turns 3 and 4. Now back down the front straightaway. Gagnon at the line will lead that time by, but him and Schaefer still door handle to door handle going into 1.
Those two are side by side. TJ and Tyler Brown still side by side for 3rd and 4th here. So really good racing in this top 5. And right behind these two guys, the 23 of Hanna, the 16 of Malikian, and the 8 of Mice, all just really, really wanting this group of trucks to break up and go single file. They finally do so. The 23 puts his nose there, passes the 00, at least momentarily, off a turn 4 exit. Now they're going to remain side by side heading to 1.
Schaefer's going to be able to clear Brandon Gagnon going down into turn number 1. Bartel was able to make quick work there that last lap of both Tyler Brown and Brody Hanna, as now Hanna tries to put Brown under some fire down the back straightaway heading into turn 3. Here comes Robert Malikian right in tow behind Tyler Brown, kind of working on that outside lane, cuts it down under. Tyler Brown slides up now back down the front straightaway. These guys are single file with Brown just chopping off the nose of Robert Malikian as they head down into 1 again.
Goes back, gives them some space there. The 27 makes a quick cut, but does not make it underneath the 16 there. They stay single file coming off turn number 2 here on lap 79. The 38 gets a little bit of a run on the 29, but Tommy Schaefer just has a really fast truck right now, can put that thing anywhere, top, bottom, does not matter. He's going to carry the same lap time with him, so very versatile truck as we are a little bit past halfway in this race.
He's been really strong too, Jeremy, all night long from start to finish, both practice, qualifying, sat on the pole. Remember, won last weekend. And if there's one good thing about being a driver who is fresh off of a win when you head into next week, it's not a fast car. It's not, oh, I'm having a good day. It's momentum. That is the number one thing when it comes to being a driver is momentum. Because if you have that momentum, you have the confidence build. You obviously feel like you have more of a control rather than being down in the dumps. I know we're all victims of it, me especially too. Momentum is one of the best things you could ever have on your side. Tommy Schaefer looking to continue with that momentum here tonight as he works his way off too.
Yeah, you can have the best setup underneath you out of everyone on the track, but if you don't have the momentum personally, that's one of your best setups you can provide to yourself, and it really just completes your race if you want to do well. And you see the 75 trying to make the move now underneath the 38 there. Brandon does not get it this time. Just a great drive off corner exit for Brandon Gagnon. And then, Jason, you have someone in the chat, Matt Trid, saying, am I hearing a Jason?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's one of my coworkers, Matt Kolk. So, Matt, welcome to the Nerditudes broadcast. Hopefully, you will stick around, and I will see you tomorrow on your final day at work, unfortunately.
Oh, well, he has to pop in here during that time.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, welcome aboard here anyways. And these guys, a little bit of shifting around through turns 3 and 4, but when they come off corner exit, they still go back single file, top 5, all underneath one blanket. Then everybody else behind them have really separated themselves.
It's kind of separated themselves just because the tires are kind of starting to set in just a little bit. Remember, these guys, most of them at least, last pit at lap 62. So we've gone now a little bit over 20 laps since we had tires put on these things. When you look at Tommy Schaefer's best lap, 30.773. Last time around, 31.460. That time, 31.515. So with that being said, we are just about 0.8 of a second off of what some of these guys were running here. Some of them falling off a little bit more just because of their setups and burning up the tires. So Tommy Schaefer looks to have some very strong long run pace here as well, but he still cannot get away from both Brandon Gagnon and TJ Bartel as Bartel looks to the inside of Gagnon off 4.
Great racing still here. Give another shout out one of our partners, this time Sim Racing Points. It's an all-inclusive league points management system that allows league owners and admins the ability to completely track your league stats and more with one simple upload of the race export. But they don't stop there. For the webmasters out there, they allow complete creation of custom widgets for any full-page website layouts or any type of widgets on the page. Either way, whatever you want to do, however you want to display your stats, Sim Racing Points is the place to go. Check out everything that they have to offer your league by going to simracingpoints.com, or if you just wanted to see it in real time, FTSR, the people you're watching right now, they utilize it to the fullest extent. So FTSR.net or simracingpoints.com. Check them out. Well worth your visit.
And you know right now, too, Jeremy, who's really having a well time, that is not Brody Hanna, but Ryan Chapman. I mean, Brody's having a good time as well, but Ryan Chapman, one of those guys who stayed out before prior to the last caution, pitted at lap 69 now. He's obviously catching these guys slowly as they progress throughout the amount of laps. He's still kind of just as fast, sometimes a little bit quicker than these guys up front, but who knew that early caution from when he tried the strategy of staying out, both him and Justin Diltz, it's worked out in Ryan Chapman's favor. He's got a good enough truck as whoa, Tommy Schaefer off turn number 4 gets wicked loose and now opens up the door for Brandon Gagnon and TJ Bartel. They're going to go 3 wide now almost down into turn 1. But Ryan Chapman back to him, still trying to make his way back up into the top spot from where he was. It could happen here in just a handful of laps.
That's a huge moment there for the 29 of Tommy Schaefer to not only have to save that truck, but now you don't know what the truck's going to react like in turn 4 for the next couple laps. Is it going to kick loose once again? He feathers it through 4 that time. You clearly see that. Brody Hanna to the bottom underneath Tommy Schaefer here, as these guys are going to be side by side for not only 1st and 2nd, but almost 3 wide here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah, and down to turn 1, you saw Ryan Chapman thought about it for just a hot minute. Oh, as Tommy Schaefer's continuing to get loose. And I tell you what, Ryan Chapman, he thought about going 3 wide, backed out of it pretty quickly, but Tommy Schaefer, those tires are absolutely shot. So we now all know Tommy Schaefer, after about 25 laps, man, his tires are gone. And look at Brandon Gagnon and TJ Bartel, they're still duking it out here for the win currently on lap 90. Man, this has been some great racing here tonight with the track temperature, the amount of grip, and these trucks for sure. Look at Ryan Chapman as we ride on board his IROC 93.5 onboard cameraman. He's absolutely digging in there, not really blinking, just trying to be smooth, calm, collective, everything, all the above, and he's doing just that. Some great racing here late in the stages of Kentucky.
And he's riding right behind that 23 of Brody Hanna. Did not try to get any clean air on that nose. Ran the exact same line through turns 3 and 4. He's going to shift up the lane now to follow the 75 of TJ Bartel, utilizing the second and third groove here of turn 1 and 2. 75 gets a great launch right there, and Ryan Chapman notices that. He's going to try to remain in tow, but the 23 Hannah's going to, well, he was going to close the door, but he goes back to the bottom here, and the 23 really has to check up, starting to get pretty tight there on the bottom. Ryan Chapman looks to the top of the 23 to try to make a move. Just doesn't have the speed to get to him this time.
Noticing Jeremy too, you talked about it a couple times in the broadcast as Ryan Chapman looks to go to the bottom, gets a little bit tight, has to back out of it, and he'll fall back to the front bumper of Tommy Schaefer. Lots of guys are starting to get loose here on the end of this tire run, possibly, or in the middle, I should say. Off turn number 4, you're starting to see a lot of guys get loose, even though we're in the middle of the night. Lots of grip on this racetrack, not so much though off turn 4. Look at Schaefer loose again off turn number 4. These guys are just putting on one hell of a show for us up here in the booth and the fans watching at home as they slip and slide all around here, this 1.5-mile asphalt track.
And this race is usually in about 10th place, right? So I'm excited to see this for a couple weeks now consecutively, where we're seeing the top 5 under one blanket here, really just trying to figure out where they want to be. 75 Bartel really attacks the corner entry of turn 3, gets underneath the 38 of Brandon momentarily, but coming off turn 4, Brandon, that 38 is just so dominant there on corner exit. Clears the 75 of Bartel by at least 2 to 3 truck lengths, and that opens the door now for the 23 of Brody Hanna as the 75 utilizes the third groove now through 1 and 2.
And Bartel's been kind of doing that recently. He's been really just trying to search around. He's been going from the bottom, middle, to the top. You see Ryan Chapman kind of trying to do the same thing, figuring out which lane do I want to go with. Do I want to go with TJ, who's been very strong off corner exit on the top, or do I want to kind of stick with Brody, maybe have an opportunity? Oh, he's going to get tight. He gets loose, and he's going to save it off turn number 4. Opens up the door for Tommy Schaefer to go to his outside this time, but I'm sure Ryan Chapman will be able to get back around him, considering how loose that 29 truck is off corner exit. But these guys are all just giving Brandon Gagnon more and more of an opportunity to kind of scoot away here. The more and more they race side by side, but everything's kind of subsided right now, calmed down a bit. TJ Bartel finally has an opportunity presented to him to go chase down Brandon Gagnon.
Yeah, the 29 Tommy Schaefer was trying to pass Ryan Chapman there. He's like, hey, I just did that a few laps prior. But could not make the pass, and it kind of separates the top 5. They were bumper to bumper, but now they got about 2 trunk lengths around each of these guys in this top 5. Jumping to the Facebook chats for the first time, I see Mr. Matt Keach on there, not saying A, but saying, come on, Brandon. He is rooting on that number 38, currently leading the 75 by 0.4 of a second as they're going to approach lap number 97 at the line. And then on the YouTube side, you got another shout out, Jason, from I think it's Swollen F, if that analogy is correct there, at least the abbreviation. Jason Rockefeller is the best iRacing esports commentator, period.
Well, I guess I am. I don't really know. I don't really think I've deserved it quite just yet. But somebody who might deserve something here in just a second is TJ Bartel, because not only was he back by about 0.6 of a second, he is now reeled in Brandon Gagnon for the race lead, now down to almost 0.2 of a second this time by down the front straightaway. And another thing, too, to point out, Jeremy, green flag pit stops. If they do come, when will these guys try to come into the pits this time, possibly? Now we're more than 30 laps over a tire run. You got to start thinking fuel probably here is about 45, maybe 50 laps of a run, considering that we're on 1.5 miles. These guys can't make it all the way.
Yeah, that's an excellent point there. We saw a lot of cautions early in stage 2, so these guys may have figured, let's just run this to the end and maybe we'll get another caution. But no, this is definitely a really long run here. They could come down pit road at any moment and set themselves up for the end of the run here. Who's going to be the first one to break? Who knows? I also see in the chats there, Stephen Hollingsworth joins in saying, appreciate you guys. Win or wreck is my game, I guess. And, well, you gave it all you could, man. There's just not quite enough here tonight. And then Rhonda saying, you can do this, Ryan. Also cheering on Ryan Chapman. So he's still remaining in 4th place, just under 1 second from Brandon Gagnon, as they are now on lap 100. So that's going to be 35 laps to go.
Yeah, and now Ryan Chapman's moved into 3rd, so quietly every few laps picks off another position. Now he's on that podium trying to continue that top 10 streak here tonight, Jeremy. And talk about continuing that top 10 streak. What would it mean to Ryan Chapman if he could hold on for a top 3 finish on the podium? Maybe even talk to us from the Martin Sports victory lane, possibly, after it's all said and done here tonight from the Bluegrass State. We'll have to see. Obviously, still one more pit stop to go, and Ryan Chapman can go a little bit longer of a distance on fuel. Remember, he pitted on lap 69 compared to everybody else around the top 10 right now who pitted at lap 62. So with that being said, Chapman can stretch the fuel just a little bit longer, but I think just because of how strong the tires have to be here, if you want to make any sort of move, I think you have to pit when the leaders start doing it.
Everybody else did definitely pitted on a very nice lap here, but yeah, the 27's just slowly inching here. TJ Bartell is just, I think he has enough to get to, the 27 has a little bit of a wobble off corner exit there. Not enough to lose any position on the 23 of Hannah. But I think the 75 does have a great chance if he wanted to push the issue for the final couple laps before going on pit road. But yeah, if it were me, well, here we go. The 00 Tyler Brown, the 29 of Tommy Schaefer beat me to the word here. And they're going to come down pit road, the first 2 trucks on the lead lap to start the pit road cycle.
Yeah, 2 of the teammates, obviously, they wanted to kind of just come in a little bit earlier than most guys. Robert Malikian, he was the first one to come down pit road. Curtis Vollmer, he's still in the pits, though. So we'll have to see who in that top 5 is going to pit, though. We talk about it, the door being open for guys coming into the pits. But obviously now here we go. This is where the door swings wide open. Brody Hanna in this time by. So the first one of those top 5 leaders to try to leapfrog one another. They were all bundled up one another, probably about the top 4. Brody Hanna, the first to kind of fold in and come down pit road this time by.
So everybody else is probably going to be a lap or 2 after this. I would have to believe for sure. If you don't want to lose the excess time here, you see the 38 and the 75 back on your screen. This time they are not going to come down pit road. The top 3 remain on the track, at least one more lap here. And this is about a second to a second half a lap difference every single lap. And we got 30 laps to go. So at what point do you go too far into this run and not have the time to make it back up?
Jeremy, sitting here really thinking to myself, with the math in the head, you got to think to yourself, when one of those guys like Brody Hanna in that top 4 said he was pitting, how many seconds was he back when he was heading into the pits from you? And then really, you want to kind of just start to, think about, all right, it's a second a lap pretty much, so maybe I start pitting a couple laps after him just to maintain that gap. And TJ Bartell, he was right there with Brennan Gagnon. This time by into the pits, he comes. I think Brennan Gagnon has to absolutely pit this time by. If he doesn't, I want to say that I think TJ Bartell will obtain the lead from him.
Rhonda on YouTube also saying Ryan Chapman have to pit this time. You're strong now, so keep that momentum going, but they're going to come through turn 4 here. And there he goes. The 27 Ryan Chapman gives up second place to come down pit road. Now is up to the 38 of Brandon Gagnon to maximize what he can there on his stop. It's got to come this time. It really has to. He's got the fastest truck right now. He's been in the lead. So to extend this run, to me, doesn't make sense, because when he comes back onto the track, he is not going to be in first. He's going to have to pass some trucks to get back to where he was. So we're going to see if he comes down this time. And there he is. He's going to low her down below the yellow line, and your race leader is now on pit road.
Oh, and he gets a little bit squirrely coming to the pits, but I think he just makes it down onto pit road. Now this is the thing that we're all watching up here in the booth. Where is TJ Bartell? 1 lap down, currently sitting in 10th. Now he just got his lap back, 33 seconds. There he goes, right there into turn number 1. The number 38 machine is going to have to be in and out of the pits. Nice clean stop. Going to take 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. And here comes TJ Bartell down the back straightaway. Will Brandon be able to hold the top spot from TJ Bartell, or will have TJ pitted at just the right time? Brandon Gagnon out this time by. Will he be able to get off to speed off the pit road exit line?
We're going to find out here real quick. He's on turn 1 apron here. The next truck to pass is the 75. You're going to see him right there on the top half of your screen. Going to be merging back onto the track, and it's
close.
not going to be it. The 75 will take over the lead, but Ryan Chapman does not have the speed to do that. So it's only going to be one truck. I thought Ryan would be a little bit closer, but nope. It's going to be the 38 and the 75 competing for this win here.
And just because that 38 machine, Jeremy, stayed out one extra lap, look at the gap that the 75 has opened up on him right now. Currently 3 seconds, or excuse me, not 3 seconds, a second right now. I know that doesn't sound bad, but when you look at clean air here at Kentucky and you look at the draft and whatnot and how much you have to lift just because of being in that dirty air, obviously, it's going to be very hard for Brandon Gagnon. Yes, he has a couple lap pressure tires than TJ Bartell, but with the lap traffic and TJ Bartell pitting earlier, it's going to be very, very tough for the 38 to pass him.
To show you what the lap times look like, the last few laps prior to pitting, Brandon ran a 32.4. That time around on the fresh set of tires, a 31.0. So a second and a half separation. But with only 2 laps separating between the 75 and the 38's tire wear, it's going to be close. He's inching a little bit closer and closer, utilizing the 99 JP Burns draft to get there. But after he clears him, it's going to be a close one when we get to this the final few laps of this race.
Yeah, we'll have to see. There's a little bit of lap traffic right up front of them, not laps down, obviously. That's Tyler Brown, who's currently falling back. So is Brody Hanna to the inside. Tyler Brown will go, but Brandon Gagnon stuck behind 2 trucks. He can't do anything about this right now. So that gap extending back to 0.8 of a second. It was about 3, and now it's 8. So Brandon Gagnon has to do a little bit more work yet again if he wants to close that gap into Bartell.
One thing to mention, too, quite a few of these people have not pitted. The number 9 of Marshall Johnson, you see him on the leaderboard. He's still P1. Alan DeRonco second, Robert Malikian in third. And you see Tommy Schaefer in the 29. He's actually in 4th, 3 seconds ahead of the 75 of TJ Bartell. So where would this cycle through?
Yeah, we'll have to see right here. And Alan DeRonco, he's into the pits this time. Marshall Johnson's just hoping for a caution. He's got currently a 19.5-second gap over Robert Malikian, who, remember, pitted at lap 101, so a few lap fresher tires, kind of similar to what he did earlier when he stayed out on a few lap older tires. So we'll have to see how this works out for him. Obviously, this could work out very well for him, possibly, just because these guys now have laps on their tires compared to when they went green when he had older tires. So we'll have to see. I expect Robert to possibly get to him. He's closing about 1 second to 1.5 seconds every lap. But Marshall Johnson, if he wants any chance remotely at this win, he's going to need a yellow.
Yeah, 100% there. And Tommy Schaefer is working hard on the back bumper, the 16 of Robert Maliki. And this is for the race lead once the number 9 makes his pit stop side by side through turns 3 and 4 here. And I think before they get to the back stretch, the 29-inch Tommy Schaefer will have this position as we are at 20 laps to go.
Yeah, I guess you can call it the Craftsman 20 to go like they do on Friday and Saturdays, obviously. And Tommy Schaefer making quick work of Maliki, and he'll get by him down the back straightaway. They were pretty similar the last 2 laps within lap time, both in the 0.7 bracket compared to Bartell, who's in the 0.2s, the Brandon Gagnon, he's in the 31 flats practically almost. So they are way faster than the 29 and the 16 right now. It's just going to be a matter of will they be able to get to them and will a caution fly possibly. And Bartell still doing what he's doing, trying to keep that 38 behind him. Lap traffic definitely aiding him, but we'll have to see here as the laps wind down, come at 18 to go this time. And now off turn number 4 this time by, you see the 75 of Bartell continuing to try to stretch out that gap from the 38 of Brandon Gagnon down into turn number 1. And he's doing some quick work of that. Obviously, the gap to them currently only 0.5 second. So Brandon Gagnon continuing to try to draft up to the back bumper of Bartell down into 3 and 4 this time.
Rookie mistake. My mic was muted. Had to Had to fix something there, but I'm back, and I was saying that the number 9 of Marshall Johnson, to me, it looks like he's trying to lift and save gas at the same time. He's been entering turn 3 really low, at least the 5 laps ago or so, as we're going to go on board here, at least through his helmet
He's
camera.
spinning.
Actually, he's going to give it up. Race lead is now going to cycle to that number 9 of Tommy Schaefer, and TJ Bartel is 1.5 seconds back off your race leader with much fresher tires, obviously, with the 38 in tow and the 27 of Chapman. So they will get to Tommy Schaefer, but this was a great effort here to try to get this checker flag.
It's a great effort by everybody, really. They're the varying strategies, obviously, now as we're at 16 laps to go this time. So, I mean, you can't fault Marshall Johnson for trying something. You know, we talked to him again last week, said he just didn't want to be the bridesmaid anymore. Had an opportunity presented to him. He decided to go and run with it. Just unfortunately ran out of time, no caution. But hey, if a caution does come out, if he gets back to the lead lap, we'll have to see. Maybe this can fall in the right way for him, possibly.
Yeah, it very well could for sure. But these guys are just continuing to get close. Only 1 second now separates the 29 and the 75. You see Marshall Johnson resume back onto the track. Merges right behind the 29 there. And the 75. No, the 75 has to pass the number 9 here if they even can. 9's got faster tires now, or fresher tires rather. So this playing at a little bit of a hindrance for the 75 to get to the 29.
Yeah, and you know, we'll have to see possibly how this is. The 9 is definitely going to pass Tommy Schaefer. This is not helping TJ Bartel out at all, but it's definitely helping out Tommy Schaefer. But when the 9 just does, in fact, get to Tommy Schaefer and he passes him, that's not going to be good for Tommy Schaefer. Obviously, he wants to be on the preferred line. He wants to be on the bottom, but this is not going to be good for him. Slides up the track a little bit, presents Marshall Johnson with an opportunity to get by him, get back on the lead lap, and then Bartel and Gagnon, they get back down to the bottom while they battle, which could be for the race lead. And just because the 29 had to arc it out so far, they closed up a ton down the front straightaway. 13 laps to go. Gagnon passes the 75 of Bartel and now looks to have his sights set on Tommy Schaefer for the race lead. But look at Bartel trying to charge back to the bottom.
You can just see the clear speed difference. 29 cannot hold on. The 38 of Gagnon to the bottom of Tommy Schaefer at the line. Lead change successful. 38 to the point this time. And how quickly, he cuts off the nose to the 29 there, entering turn 1 to try to widen out that entry. It allows 75 of Bartel to quickly make that pass there. So new race leaders now. It's the 75 versus the 38.
38 needs to do now is just be calm, cool, collective, and consistent here for these next, which is going to be 11 laps this time by. We've seen TJ Bartel take some swipes at him, just hasn't been enough. Obviously, clean air meaning so much for the 38 here late in the going at Kentucky. But the 75, just because he has a little bit of a draft weight down these straightaways, it helps out. But we'll have to see who can keep the tires on it for the next 11 laps. Will the 75 be able to go through, or will it be the 38? We will have to see. 10 to go this time by.
I think those fresher tires will prevail for the 38. I think as long as he hits his marks, which he has been doing so basically all race long, there's not going to be too much there. You see the 99 and the 29 side by side. And there's still a battle for podium, right? You got the 29 closing in to the 27 of Ryan Chapman. That is going to be for third place podium spot here. 10 laps to go, and those guys are separated by a second. So this could be a tight race here to get the podium.
It's definitely going to be a tight race, and Ryan Chapman continued to close in on Tommy Schaefer. Was faster than him by almost a tenth last time around. You can see him right now. He's working that wheel right now, especially with the Martin Sports gloves on right now down the front straightaway. 27 just continuing to try to chase down Tommy Schaefer. Needs a little bit more of a break, needs to be more consistent. We'll have to see. But with that being said, the 29 or the 27 is able to close up through the center a little bit more than the 29 down the back straightaway. They go into 3 now.
Yeah, they got a decent amount of space still separating them here through 3 and 4. Looks like Ryan Chapman's just pushing up a little bit tighter on corner exit 4 anyways, hindering any type of run he's getting on this 29. He's getting all of his ground made up through 1 and 2 as we're at 8 laps to go this time around. Brandon Gagnon leads TJ Bartell by 3/10. Second and a half almost separates second and third place. And after your top 5 truck, 6th place is 12 and a half back. So it's really a race within the top 5.
Yeah, it really is a race within the top 5, and only 10 trucks currently scored on the lead lap. Last right now being Justin Diltz, currently residing in the 10th spot, who was one of those guys with his teammate Robert Malikian who opted to kind of, pit earlier on in this race a little bit later than the guys stayed out. He fell back and now finds himself just inside the top 10. About to go 1 lap down here, though, so he's going to go a lap down, but, obviously a caution comes out, presents to him an opportunity to get back on the lead lap and pit here. And the 38, he had to arc it a little bit there going into the corner and presented Bartell with possibly an opportunity to make a run on him, but not enough this time by 6 to go.
Justin Diltz trying everything to keep in the draft of the 38. Not for a position, of course, but that actually gave a little bit of an assistance to 38 down the front straightaway. Got that little 2-truck tandem speed there, going to increase the gap to over 4/10 of a second between the 38 and the 75. Now the 75 has to pass Justin Diltz. Makes quick work of him entering turn 3. And now we're going to be coming up to 5 laps to go. And this lead is just slowly but slowly extended out a little bit further in favor for Brandon.
Yeah, and it's been a really, really strong race for Brandon Gang. And obviously we talked to him before the start, obviously, of this race. And he said, don't pick me to win, because every time, something happens to him, I believe is what he said, and doesn't want that pressure being put on him. But he's been one of the fastest guys here tonight. You can argue that this race really hasn't been dominated by one truck, really. We've seen a mix of drivers up at the front. We've seen everybody from Tommy Schaefer to Bartell, Gagnon. We've seen Cody McKinney. We saw the 5 of Stephen Hollingsworth. Malikian there in the 16 machine. He's been up there too as well. But yeah, no real dominant truck here tonight. It just turns out that, Brandon Gagnon was able to get the head side of the coin here tonight and get that good luck token. And hopefully he'll be able to hang off here from TJ Bartell just for a handful of laps. He's got 4 to go. We'll have to see, is the gap currently half a second.
So, Jason, we have not made our picks for tonight, so I'm going to say Brandon Gagnon is going to be the race winner here.
There you go.
So I'm going to take it. Now I'm going to roll the dice here. Jump over to the chats. I see Diane saying, go, Ryan, go. Ryan's lost a little bit of momentum to Tommy Schaefer, so it looks like at this time, Tommy's basically got this 3rd place locked in, so Ryan is just 1 spot shy of the podium as we got just a couple of laps remaining. And I'd love to quickly point out our schedule here. For Nerd TV amongst 3 different platforms at this time: Facebook, YouTube, and Kick.com. And it's going to be the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series every single Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Tuesday we head over to the ERL League for the RSR Next Generation Cup Series. Same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then every single Wednesday you're watching them now, also at 9 p.m. Eastern, is the Martin Sports Truck Series for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday action on Nerd TV. And Brandon Gagnon is at the line. That means it is 1 to go. White flag presented by absolutely nobody. And the track is completely open for the 38.
What a statement for Brandon Gagnon after telling us earlier on, right before the race, to not pick him. And, man, he's been up at the front all race long, played a little bit of strategy, looked to be questionable, pitting 2 laps later than Bartell. But it looks like that 38 machine is coming home with a W here tonight.
TJ Bartell trying to do everything, just will not be enough. The number 38, Brandon, is going to take home the checkered flag for the Martin Sports winning moment. Just pure dominant fashion for the entire race here for Brandon. Job well done for a guy who was unsure of how his truck was going to be tonight. I think he found money there for this race.
Yeah, more than likely. Obviously, just his setup and everything he had underneath the hood here tonight really played in his favor. Just a strong run, strong statement for him. We've seen him continuously week in and week out be faster and faster and faster. Arguably could have won the race at New Hampshire for his debut here in the Martin Sports Truck Series. Wasn't enough, but here he is at Kentucky and able to get the win here tonight, and good job to him. TJ Bartell as well and Tommy Schaefer finishing P3 on the podium. Some nice momentum still carried over from last week's win at IRP.
And this guy has learned from our previous broadcast, keeping it far away from the wall and basically below onto the apron there, doing the burnouts. And we're going to kick it over to the unofficial results for tonight's race presented by Racing High Flag. And it's going to be Brandon Gagnon taking home the checker flag this evening, TJ Bartell second, Tommy Schaefer in third, Ryan Chapman finishes in fourth, Robert Maliki in fifth, Cody McKinney in sixth, Colby Mice does finish in seventh, Brandon Elder eighth, ninth place truck and the last one on the lead lap, that's the number 9 for ninth place, Marshall Johnson, and 10th place will be the 91 of Justin Diltz.
One Performance Cup winner from Indy on Monday. Sherwood Williford comes home 11th tonight. JP Burns 12th. Al Duranco comes home 13th. Tony Solari 14th. Birdie Hanna finishes right next to his teammate in 15th. Tyler Brown 16th. Joey McKinney 17th tonight. Curtis Vollmer, after hellacious hit to the outside wall, will come home 18th. And then Hollingsworth comes home 19th after some contact earlier on in the race. And Rick Webb with the money shift comes home P20 tonight in the 83.
And that's going to bring us to our only full screen commercial break. We're going to gather up tonight's top 3, and we'll be back shortly for the Martin Sports Post Race Show. And welcome everyone to the Martin Sports Post Race Show. We're going to talk to tonight's top 3 finishers to see their final thoughts on this Kentucky 150. And the first person we're going to bring in is that number 29 of Tommy Schaefer, driver of the Roasted Gems Chevrolet Silverado. Mr. Tommy Schaefer, congratulations on P3.
Hey, thank you guys. It's not first, but I'll take a podium at the home track.
Oh, there you go, home track, and that's nice to at least get the podium for sure, even though NASCAR doesn't celebrate podiums, but we do it here, so, there's that. But you got that momentum going. You won last week, and you're here this week getting P3, and so things are looking great for your team. Just kind of walk us through your night overall.
First stage wasn't looking too bad. I knew that the race was going to transition into night, and just had the truck set up too loose for the early part of the race. Came in, took 4, packed it full of fuel, and made some adjustments. It got a little bit better. Then cautions and everything. Then I actually tightened it up a little bit more on that last green flag stop, and I wish I hadn't tinkered with it. And also wish I would have pitted 2 laps later, but it is what it is. And we tried to stay clean all night, which we pretty much did, except for Tyler. And, I feel like we had a pretty decent truck. Just could have been just a little bit better.
Yeah, could have been just a little bit better. I know a couple of those guys out there were just super fast, and yeah, I was really surprised that I saw you a little bit off sequence there on the pit stops. You tried the little bit earlier stop and just could not hold them back there. But it was a great job. I thought for sure you're going to fall back to the number 27, Ryan Chapman, but that did not happen. That kept you in third place. Were you surprised that Ryan Chapman never caught you there?
Uh, yeah, I look back probably with oh 8 or 10 to go, and he was like 8 tenths back, and then looked up a couple laps later, and it was like at a second. So I don't know if he just really burnt his stuff up. Um, he had a fast truck, but I just don't know if maybe like he had fell back a little bit and pitted whenever Brandon and TJ and all of them pitted, and just like I said, burned it up just a little bit trying to get back up to everybody, and didn't have enough left for the last 5 or 6 laps of the race.
Gotcha, man. Well, yeah, congratulations once again on P3, back-to-back podiums, and now we're headed off to Daytona next week. So it's going to be a complete curveball and
Yeah.
wild card rather for you guys here. But the floor is yours. Any final shout-outs before we let you go?
Appreciate everybody with FTSR. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast. Had some friends and family tuning in, so appreciate them watching. Appreciate Roasted Gems always riding with us, and my dad and my grandpa down at Schaefer's Auto Body for sponsoring us. And this is 3 weeks in a row we've been in the booth, so we're gonna roll the dice next week and see if we can't come back again.
That'd be awesome, man, to get that at Daytona for sure. But yeah, celebrate, man, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, hey, appreciate it. Hope to be back here next week.
Absolutely, man. And that was Tommy Schaefer, driver, the number 29 Roasted Gems Chevrolet Silverado. Now it's time to bring in P2 tonight, the number 75 of TJ Bartell. TJ, congratulations on second place.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. It was a really strong run for us.
Yeah, it really was. Our new colors. It took me a second to get used to your skin there, and then your truck was just really fast. So, kind of walk us through the back half. That's where you kind of figured out where Brandon was compared to you, and anything you could have done different with strategy or setup wise to maybe compete a little bit closer to that 38.
Yeah, I mean, I knew how good he was, and I knew I was like close, and I felt like, to be honest with you, on a long run, I was better than anybody but him, maybe. And if I could have got my truck to turn just a tick better on entry, maybe it would have been different, but still very happy with it. I overdrove the truck I think it was the first run. I was overdriving entry, and I was like, oh God, I'm killing myself here. I'm tearing up my right front. So I just got in my mindset of what I needed to do and back up my corner entries, and it really made the truck fast.
And I was kind of surprised too. I saw you especially. You were ripping the third lane up on especially 1 and 2. I did not expect there to be that much grip up there. But did you know that coming into this race, or is that something you kind of stumbled upon and started to utilize when you found it?
Well, I kind of had to find it in a way because a couple times different trucks had gotten under me in 1 and 2, and I'm like, well, if I let them go and let off the gas, I'm gonna get freight trained because I found out that early. So I'm just like, I'm gonna hammer this thing up here and see what it does, and it stuck pretty good, and I got really good runs off and was able to hold some people off that way.
It was quite impressive, especially turn 2. I just you gained probably 2 truck lengths on them getting to turn 3, so I was kind of surprised at how much grip there was available to you guys here in these trucks. But man, the floor is yours. Congratulations once again. Final thoughts before we let you go.
Well, thanks, guys. Really happy with our effort tonight. I want to thank Martin Sports for sponsoring this series. I want to thank Nerditudes. You guys do a great job. Just thankful for all you do. Thank Brody and FTSR, the admins and the drivers here. They're quite a bunch. So to finish second here is quite an accomplishment. I want to thank Teach's Lair Marina. That was the new sponsor tonight. Nerditudes on the truck as well. Ring Dog Rescue, and thank my wife for letting me do this. She puts up with all the hours I put in here, and some racing points as well. And thank you guys.
Yeah, big shout outs across the board there, man. Congratulations on P2 tonight, and we're gonna see you at Daytona next week.
You bet, guys. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And that was driver number 75, TJ Bartell. And now it's time to bring in our own, for the first time this season, the guy who said, "Do not pick me for tonight," Mr. Brandon Gagnon. Congratulations on the win.
Guys, that was a lot of fun. I got to start off by saying TJ and Tommy, clean drivers, clean racing, phenomenal. I loved it.
Yeah, that looked like it was a lot of fun. At one point, there were a couple points rather. Top five was really the place to be for all the camera work that Dustin had to provide. You guys were just nose to tail, just too wide, just just really solid racing around. Coming to this race, you kind of talked to us a little bit about the setup and what you were trying to do, what you got for you, and then you had no idea. So he said, "Don't pick me," and then about halfway through the race, I was like, I think this 38 has something in this truck. So when did you realize that you maybe had a contending truck for the win?
Well, as soon as we started, when we got down to the first 10, 15 laps, and I got to the front and I was able to back my entry up in 3 and 4, which I felt like I struggled with in practice, and I even felt like I struggled with in the race. When I started realizing I could almost full throttle it through 1 and 2 without sliding the tires, I was like, okay. And I started to see the gap. But then later in the run, with about 30 laps on the tires, I saw guys creeping back up to me. So I was a little concerned at that point. But this thing was a rocket, guys, a rocket.
It really did look like it too in that long run, especially. Just you were untouchable there, and there was definitely some multiple grooves in this race. I just asked TJ Bartell about the third groove. Did you know about the multi groove racing here that Kentucky was going to provide tonight? Because honestly, I've always known this to be a bottom feeder here.
Same, and I knew 1 and 2. I felt like I had to be down on the line to get a good run off, but then TJ was backing up his entry somehow and getting a great run off. And every time he got underneath me in 3 and 4, I thought I'd be in trouble. But that middle line in 3 and 4, the run you could get off was phenomenal. I did not know about a third groove. I wasn't going to test the third groove if there was. I was trying to stay as far as away from the wall as I could. But yeah, guys, that was so much fun.
Well, congratulations, man, on the W tonight. The floor is yours. Final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
Got to give a huge thank you to Studio Displays, ETOF 21 Sports, Martin Sports Apparel. Huge shout out to those guys. Roasted Gems Coffee, Nerditudes Motorsports for even getting me in this thing. Middle of the season, you guys have just been such a huge support and helped me out in so many different ways. iRacing, iFlags, Sim Racing Points, and I'm hoping this sneaks me in the top 25 with the win to where we can compete in the playoffs.
That'd be kind of cool to come in and be able to qualify yourself for sure. But we're going to figure that out here after Daytona's results. But yeah, congratulations once again, man. Go ahead and celebrate, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the broadcast and everybody watching. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. You too. The driver number 38, Mr. Brandon Gagnon, coming home with the first win for the full throttle sim racing career that he's had now for about 2 months, I think, roughly there. And Jason, what's your final outtakes here?
Yeah, I mean, what a drop though for Brandon. We've talked about it ever since he joined here back in early July. He's been very strong every time he's ran. Could have ran that very first debut with a win. Didn't end up going his way, but tonight he was able to capitalize on a few drivers' mistakes, and unfortunately, that thing for other drivers was really hooked up. So he was very strong. Could not really contend with him. Besides TJ Bartell, it was questionable. We saw a lot of guys too with some incidents that we didn't really expect. Maybe like for example, like Brody Hanna, Cody McKinney. Even though he finished sixth, you're so used to seeing him be in the top two. But again, Ryan Chapman continues that top 10 streak. So as my arms cut off due to my background, I'm pumped up for you, Mr. Chapman, on continuing that top 10 streak, 6 in a row. Robert Malikian, he continues to be strong week in and week out. A lot of guys had some issues, but a lot of guys were able to just keep in the fight all night long like Brandon was.
Speaking of cut off there, Dustin, you're doing some extra overtime there. Your hat cut off there from pre-race to post-race. What's going on over there?
Yeah, it's getting a little hot in here, man. I mean, these drivers were lighting it up. So, I mean, it was a good race. I mean, I was as surprised as you guys. I always seen Kentucky as that bottom feeder style track. Anytime I see the Kentucky Speedway come up on the schedule, I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be a snore fest. But these drivers, I mean, they lit the shit up big time. I mean, 5 wide, 4 wide, 3 wide, didn't wreck. It was nuts. I mean, tough break for some of the drivers that we typically see have strong runs. Jason said it best there. With Brody Hanna. I mean, obviously Richie Coy not here, so we don't see his name anywhere in there. Cody McKinney having the issues as well, but some of these excellent stories. Brandon being able to nab his first win after coming in partway through the season. I know he's been super ecstatic about that. I've been texting him back and forth. Good run by TJ Bartel. And it's always good to see, Ryan Chapman not only continuing the top 10 streak, but now broken to the top 5s as well. So he's been getting better and better, and he keeps stringing these things along. It's going to get better and better. And then the Heartbreak Kid, I'm going to have to find a new nickname for him because he found himself into the top 5 again after podium last week. So he's getting a lot better, and he's definitely making a name for himself. So super happy for him as well. Like I said, it was a good run all the way around, and this track with these trucks in the Martin Sports Truck Series here at FTSR surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah, no kidding. 5 wide, 4 wide. And that was just not just one glimpse of a moment. That was for an entire lap, and then it happened again shortly after. So, just shout out to everyone in this league for just putting on a hell of a race at a track that you said it can be a snoozer. So, did not expect that, and we enjoyed every moment of it. And yeah, new nickname coming for Robert shortly. I'll let Dustin provide that one. Maybe next week he'll have it. Who knows? But we're going to close this thing out here. Thank all of our partners one last time. First and foremost, the league, FTSR.net. If you guys want to be a part of this racing action, it's wide open. Join the charter system that's presented or brought to you by Sim Racing Points. It's a cool software, cool system to pay in your drivers. They can earn money while doing it. It's kind of a cool system like the charter system in real life. So be a part of this really good action-packed racing every single week by joining it at FTSR.net. Mach 1 Performance is the race fabrication shop that's produced champions and winners across all sorts of racing divisions, and also a part of the Monday night series here at FTSR. So if you have a race car local and you want to get them to work on your car and get them in your winning fashion, join or go to their Facebook at facebook.com/Mach1 Performance. And of course, Sim Racing Points, just mentioned them. It's your league points management system that's going to do wonders for your racing league. And it comes at a really good price point. Might be free, might be not.
Oh,
That's
it's
for you
free.
to figure out. It's free. I was going to have them figure it out, but you're going to plug it in. So if you got a league right now,
100% free.
yeah. And it does so much, right? Head over to FTSR.net. Check out all the stats. That's what your league can look like. And then Martin Sports, the series sponsor for every single Wednesday. Top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable. See everything they have to offer you at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag, get all of your notifications just a fraction of a second faster without ever leaving the focus from your screen. And visit iRacingIFlag.com to check out all their products. Butt Kicker is the haptic response system you attach to your center post to your chair, and you feel all the bumps and feels from the track into your sim rig, and that's at thebuttkicker.com. Team Watson Racing Setups. FTSR proven win setups here. Richie Coy runs them, Jeff Chandler runs them, quite a few others, and they've got multiple wins across multiple series. Brandon Gagnon from tonight as well. So, the obviously race win proven. That's at teamwatsonracing.com. Dusty Pete's Gifts and Collectibles, a hobby shop with a whole lot more. So if collecting is the game, Dusty Pete's is the name, and you're going to find them at dustypete's.com. And then lastly, Roasted Gems Coffee, premium coffee beans roasted just for you. Start your day the right way, of course, with coffee from Roasted Gems. And that's going to close us out tonight, guys. We're going to catch you on Monday for the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. Until then, you guys stay safe and get your nerd on.